Hey, what's up guys? Phil Harris here from beginnerdjlessons.com, and as most of you know, last week I didn't do a tutorial, I just did a mini mix for you guys. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you go and check it out here. Now, in the mix, one of my favorite transitions was a mix between Losing It and Let It Rip. It was this transition here.
Stacking the bricks, out in the field, I'm the captain and shit. And it's lit, whole click, yeah, I might let it rip.
And guys, I feel there's a lot I could teach you about that one transition because there's a lot of interesting things going on there. So I wanted to run you through my thought process, or as the Irish say, my thought process. Let's do it. Okay guys, let's get straight into it. So, there's a couple of complicated things going on in this simple transition, okay? The first thing that's so unusual about this transition is it happens in the middle of a drop, which is very rare. That very rarely happens, but it works really well here. And I want to tell you, the main reason it works well is because the two drops are so similar. So I've got them here as a comparison. I'm just going to play one and I'm going to play the other. And you're going to see why in my head I thought, whoa, those drops are really similar. Do you see? It's got that same kind of trumpet kind of noise. It's like a slow trumpet, like whoop, whoop, whoop. And I listened to both these drops because I like both these songs, obviously. And I was like, those just sound so similar. I bet you could almost transition in the middle of a drop and it would work. So I tried it and it did. So that's the first unusual thing. So if you guys are going to try this, you either have to use these exact songs, you have to go and find two drops that sound very similar. They're not perfect keys. Well, as far as I know, I mean, they're not that different. They're 3 apart, so 3A and 6A. And they're the same speed. So there's lots of things that make these two go well together. So I found these two tracks. Now, here's the next interesting thing. I bring in the beginning of the drop of Let It Rip halfway through the drop of Losing It. Now, this is going to get slightly complicated, so I've got a pen and paper here, and I'm actually going to draw a little diagram to show you exactly what's going on here, okay? So let me just make sure that's focused. Cool. So here's what's going on. We've got the drop of Losing It, okay? So I'm just going to put Losing It. Now, that drop has got two phrases in it, okay? One here and one here. Now, if you guys don't know what phrases are, you can go and check out my other videos, or of course, go and check out beginnerdjlessons.com. Now, there's also the build, which is another phrase really, but I'm just going to put build here. Okay, so we've got the build, then the drop, which is this bit here, with phrase 1 and phrase 2. Now, in Let It Rip, okay, what we're doing is we're bringing in phrase 1 halfway through. So this is where it happens. So what you've got here is the drop of Let It Rip with phrase 1 and phrase 2. P1, P2. And then the build happens here, which just happens to be another phrase. And there's also another phrase before that. And they're all 8 bars, okay? So now you know exactly what's going on with this. See, this just makes me look so clever. You know, you've got to think, my maths teacher said in my school report once, Phil will never amount to anything. And here I am drawing complex algorithms like that for you guys. It's amazing how life works out, isn't it? Cool, so now we know about phrases, let's just deal with the actual song. Now the interesting thing is, Let It Rip has a lot of vocals in it, okay? So I'm going to go back to Hot Cue, and you're going to hear this. It's primarily like a vocal kind of track.
You got issues, I got mine. I black out to feel alive.
Not a huge amount going on, which means I can cut the bass and maybe boost the mids and the highs slightly and really over-exaggerate the vocals.
Back up off me, bitch, I'm fried.
Which means it'll then layer perfectly over another song with a bit of bass too. So I've cut the bass here, boosted the highs. This is going to be left, track A. I'm just going to beat match them now, and you're going to find that they kind of go quite well together.
You got issues, I got mine. I black out to feel alive. Back up off me, bitch, I'm fried.
So there you go, guys. You can see that the two work really well. Now, once you've got that, there's only one last thing we have to worry about, which is the phrasing, because this is quite a simple transition, really. It's basically a case of just taking one away. So, when it comes to the phrasing, there's a simple way to do it. We're going to find those 2 points I explained earlier, where you're going to do the transition. So, we're going to go right to the beginning of the drop of Losing It, which is here. I'm going to use this thing called beat jump or beat skip, I don't know which one it is, and I'm going to set it to 32, so I can just jump back and forth, either using Serato, using these two buttons here, or on roll mode I can use these two buttons here to jump forward 8 bars. And now I know on Losing It that this is the exact point where the transition is going to happen. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Let It Rip, and I go to right to the beginning of the drop, and I know that that point is where the transition is going to happen on that track. Now we've got those two phrases lined up perfectly, which means I can now go to beat roll mode or beat skip mode here, go back 8 bars on both, and go back on 8 bars on both again. And now I know I'm at the exact point in both songs where I have to bring in track B. Now guys, if you don't know how to do this, you can just literally scroll back and count bars. Now, this might seem like, okay, this is really complicated, but sometimes you do have to put this level of thought into doing transitions beforehand and queuing it all up and knowing exactly what you are doing and then practicing it. Sometimes guys, that's exactly what DJing is like. So, I go back to hot cues. I've got a hot cue here because I know that's the exact point I need to bring it in. Then I go and have a look at Losing It, and I can see from this white mark here, as soon as that drop ends, at this point here is where I have to hit play on this track. So, for example, this would happen.
You got issues, I got mine. I black out to feel alive.
So guys, that's how you cue up both tracks. As for the actual transition itself, it's so easy. All you've got to do is, at the moment the track B's drop hits, you just take away track A. The only thing you have to remember though, is we took away the bass from track B, so it would blend nicely with track A. You have to remember to reintroduce that bass and take away track A. And that's it. That's the transition. There's nothing more complicated than that going on. Check it out one last time here, and you can see exactly what I'm doing.
Out in the field, I'm the captain and shit. And it's lit. Whole click, yeah, I might let it rip.
So there you go guys, a really awesome transition there. I'm sure you've probably learned some stuff from this video, and if nothing else, you can just go and grab these two songs and throw this exact transition into one of your next DJ sets if you want to. Guys, if you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you leave a comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more videos exactly like this. Finally guys, if you're interested in being able to get behind some DJ decks and absolutely rock a crowd, make sure you go to beginnerdjlessons.com. I've got 3 courses, beginner, intermediate and advanced. I can teach you everything you need to know to become an incredible DJ. Guys, hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next week. Ciao!